What are the reasons behind England's failings, asks James Rafter. How can they be successful again? Gary, again.
I can't answer that, how can they be successful again, because if I knew, then the last 25 years of me being involved with England, 25 years? 20 years of me being involved with England, in 8 tournaments, 5 as a player and 3 as a coach, I would have done more to correct it. The reality of it is, what are the reasons behind England's failings? England's failings have been going on now for 50 years. There is a problem where I think that at times we've had talent to be able to do better. I think we should have definitely done better in the summer. We definitely should have done better in 2004 and 6. Definitely should have done better in 96, even though we got to a semi-final. I think if you look back to the 70s, I don't think we qualified for 4 out of the 5 tournaments. 80s were pretty poor as well. So I think generally it's been poor for a long time. And
well, sorry, Gav, for interrupting you. That's obviously the big picture. In terms of the summer, why were the 6 changes in that game? Why?
If you read what I put in my book 4 or 5 years ago, and to be fair, you know, they're obviously Roy's decisions. I'd always felt that England teams ran out of steam. You know, you've been in tournaments 2004 and 6 where literally lads were dead on the feet. The same 11 played every game, not trusting the squad. Just 1 second, let me finish.
I agree with that.
No, not trusting the squad.
If you don't win the first game,
no,
the second game is massively important. It's huge.
It was the third game we changed the 6 players. It was the third game.
Was it the third game?
Yeah, it was the third game. So we were 4 points. Actually needed to win, felt very confident, trusted in the squad.
You needed to win to get top of the group.
No, trusted in the squad. I think 2 of the changes, to be fair, most people would have said weren't changes. Because if you remember, you know, Vardy came on in the second game, Sturridge came on in the second game, did well. So those were changes that I think were welcome at the time. So you're talking about 4 changes. Walker and Rose have been rotated. We generally felt that they would need 1 game break with the energy that they put into the games. So from that point of view, I actually felt it was the right decision. I still believe it's the right decision, and I wouldn't change anything, and it wasn't my decision ultimately, but I support Roy in everything that he did with those decisions. And from my point of view, I'd seen England managers play the same 11 players and then us fall off the edge of a cliff in terms of physicality in 2004 and 6. So actually to think about having confidence in the squad, you could say it was a risk. Of course it's a risk, but it's a risk actually in the past, not changing players, not trusting in the squad. And we trusted in all the players. We didn't see a massive difference between Klein and Walker, or between, if you like, the players who came in. We didn't see a massive difference in sort of quality. It wasn't if you were dropping Beckham, Gerrard and Scholes. You were dropping players who actually were coming in for players who were still equally as good.
Did not, though, going out to Iceland just feel like what might have been?
No, it felt worse than that, Dave. It felt worse than that. Going out to Iceland, I mean, ultimately, you know, the ultimate thing is that, you know, you're no longer in a job. When you lose to Iceland in a tournament, it felt worse than, felt terrible, shocking. For the players, for Roy, for Ray, for myself, for all the people who were there who'd worked so hard over 2 years. You remember, for 2 years, we've been pretty good. You know, there's a lot of optimism. We'd beaten Germany, we'd done well against Holland and France. You know, we were actually really confident. The build-up, you know, we got wins. And we played well in the first couple of games. We played well against Slovakia, if I hadn't been, you know, taking the chances. And I think the last 60 minutes against Iceland, I could never explain that to you. I've watched it back twice and can't explain what happened on that pitch. I cannot explain. I've never seen those players before like that in a game. I don't think there had been any sort of, what's the word, inkling that this was going to come. You know, if you look at sort of where we were in the previous games, we hadn't won the game against Slovakia, we hadn't won the game against Russia, but we kept playing the right way, we kept trying to do the right things. But against Iceland, it just completely was a performance that we'd not seen for 2 years.
All right, another question. This from